Delta Sierra Juliet, and confirm you cannot identify the aircraft.
Affirmative. Melbourne, Delta Sierra Juliet, it's not an aircraft. It is...
Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne, can you describe the aircraft?
Delta Sierra Juliet, as it's flying past, it's a long shape. Cannot identify more today, it's not speed. It's for me right now, Melbourne.
And how large would the object be?
It seems like it's chasing me. What I'm doing right now is orbiting, and the thing is just orbiting on top of me also. It's got a green light and sort of metallic light. Sword shining in the airside.
It was a cigar-shaped object, like a symmetrical airfoil with a dome on it. It was a solid object. It was a metallic structure to it. And you could see lights reflecting off the structure, and you could not see any of the stars or behind the object itself.
No, but would you know what kind of aircraft I've got? Is it a military aircraft?
And Delta Sierra Juliet, confirm the aircraft just vanished.
Say again?
And Delta Sierra Juliet, is the aircraft still with you?
Delta Sierra Juliet on north, south, fighting from the southwest. Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering on top of me again.
While it was in this position, the green light came out from the undercarriage of the UFO.
Colonel Coyne cut the power and set the controls for a steep dive. In spite of this, the helicopter was pulled upward toward the UFO from an altitude of 1,700 feet to an altitude of above 3,700 feet. Colonel Coyne and his crew observed the strange UFO at close range for approximately 2 minutes.
It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft. Delta Sierra Juliet, Melbourne.
UFOs have often been seen in the area by many witnesses, and a beam of intense energy has figured prominently. But other witnesses tell of a greenish glow or mist. Charles Berlitz has recorded for us the case of Chuck Wakely, who was piloting for Sunline Aviation in Miami. Wakely had completed a charter run to NASA and was headed back to Miami. According to him, the sky was perfectly clear. Suddenly, he was surrounded by an intense greenish light, so powerful, in fact, that he could no longer see outside of the plane. Wakely said his instruments then began to malfunction badly. Soon, there was little he could do but release the controls and let the plane fly itself. Then, according to Wakely, the glow just as suddenly faded and everything returned to normal.
And although Charles Wakely survived to tell his incredible story, it may be that the Bermuda Triangle eventually brought about his sudden death. Wakely was a professional pilot with over 10 years' experience at the time of the incident. He was completing a routine flight. After dropping off charter passengers in Nassau, he was on his way back to Miami. The weather was very clear, and the stars were crisp and shining. From that moment, Charles Wakely was determined to explore the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle, case history number 31. Alice Johnson. Subject was flying from Bermuda to Miami. Halfway to destination, subject had an encounter with an unknown force.
Yes, I admit the glowing wings, the eerie light, the same feeling of horror, just like the other pilots who don't want to talk about it.
Wakely's research ended tragically that night in 1974. The killer and the motive are still a mystery.
I'm frightened. I want to forget this thing.
So if disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle are part of the UFO abduction phenomenon, have there ever been missing time episodes there? Take, for example, the case of National Airlines Flight 401.
The Miami Tower was called for a time check. The instrument panel clock was right on. They were 20 minutes out and right on schedule. Later, the co-pilot would remember seeing a strange green mist that enveloped the aircraft, but otherwise everything was completely normal.
Never seen anything.
But in the Miami Tower, the air traffic controller was jolted when the blip of the approaching Flight 727 suddenly vanished from the radar screen.
I've just lost Flight 727.
The controller immediately went into emergency priority status. Within minutes, the Coast Guard search and rescue squadron was in action, and the Miami airport prepared for the worst.
What time is it? I think my watch is broken.
When the flight attendant checked for any last-minute instructions, she couldn't believe she had completed her usual 10 to 12-minute cabin duties in less than 3 minutes. And the co-pilot was surprised to discover the greenish mist that enveloped the aircraft since the time check was gone, not only from about the aircraft, but from the sky itself. Precisely 10 minutes from the time Flight 727 had vanished from the radar screen, it just as suddenly and mysteriously reappeared. The complex equipment was in perfect working order, as the ongoing computer and manual scans verified. Flight 727 landed without incident, with the crew understandably curious about the emergency equipment along the runway. And they were all incredulous when told that their arrival was 10 minutes late, despite the fact that the instrument panel clock synchronized exactly with the earlier tower time check. It was now, along with every one of the crew's watches, 10 minutes slow.
It isn't just beams of light or beams of energy that punctuate the puzzle of the Bermuda Triangle. There is also some sort of fog or mist, and it seems to have a variety of peculiar effects on ships and planes.
There have also been numerous accounts about disc-shaped UFOs under the water in the same way as they perform in the air.
Richard Weiner, author of The Devil's Triangle, relates a case that seems to corroborate these reports of underwater UFO sightings. He tells of a charter boat operator named John Carpenter and of his remarkable experience in the Bermuda Triangle. Carpenter apparently saw 2 UFOs exploring the water with some sort of projecting energy beam. Carpenter then saw exactly what so many others had reported seeing. Carpenter's experience would seem to confirm that whatever is going on in the Bermuda Triangle goes through the water or through the air with equal ease.
We noticed that the compass began to act up. It was oscillating. It's like you had a strong magnet in the proximity of the compass. And we happened to notice about this time a strange greenish light coming in low over the water out of the southeast. And it was coming at a very slow clip, and it came in and hovered right above the water. And the water that night was very calm because there was no clouds and no storms. The moon was almost full, and the visibility was excellent. And this object hovered right above the surface of the sea for a few moments, and then it just turned up on its edge and descended right out of sight into the depths.
There have been a number of such spacecraft seen approaching ships and actually disappearing under the water.